Welcome to another episode of Systematic Geekology. This is a space where we seek to create and cultivate healthy conversations between those things we geek out on and the philosophical and theological questions that often arise out of our fandoms. Like, what does it mean to be human? What makes a hero? What makes a villain? How do the stories and narratives we geek out on shape how we live in the world? We are your priest to the geeks. We aren't all ordained, but we see ourselves as mediators at the intersection of geek culture and going deeper in our faith. We don't always have to agree, but we do respect each other, and we see everyone as a beloved child of God. Everyone geeks out on something, so come geek out with us and enjoy the show.
You're listening to an Anazal Ministries podcast.
Have you ever just wanted on a whim to get a wife and child and save the world? Have you ever had to lie about your whole identity? Do you want a telepathic daughter? We're going to talk about all of this here on Systematic Geekology. We are the priest to the geeks. I am joined with Christian Ashley and Keno Cannady. How's it going, guys?
It's going well. This is going to be exciting.
It is.
Yeah.
I love this anime so much that we're going to be talking about. I am also your host, Elizabeth Pingeling and Clyde. So before we jump into, if you guys haven't figured out what we're talking about with my very vague description, we're talking about Spy Family, the best family, the ultimate family, the family built on lies and mistrust, and maybe a little bit of love. But before we jump in, what have you guys been geeking out on lately? Keno, what have you been geeking out on?
I happened to find Hell's Paradise.
That's a good one.
Yeah, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's so good. This is another anime that I was like, I have to read the manga because I can't just be waiting to it to drop. So this is another convert for me.
You have to let me know how the manga goes because I'm patiently waiting for season 2.
Gosh, I'm so good.
So I've been geeking out on The Rising of the Shield Hero. I think that's the proper name for it. It's been out for a little bit. It has 3 seasons. And it's just kind of like a RPG, but like fantasy era, but not. It's real. I'll explain it more in the recommendation section, but it's consumed my life and I'm not mad about it. So going into the actual episode, Spy Family. This has a lot of emotionalness to me because I don't mean to brag, but I saw the real Lloyd Forger in real life. Because in Universal Studios Japan, I went on a secret spy mission where I had to go around the park and find out clues to get the secret word and to get a special show to see Anya and all of them. But fun fact, it was in Japanese and I Googled it and cheated. So I just went to the actual, I waited a couple hours and then went to the thing and said the code word, which if you guys ever go to Universal Studios Japan, it's peanuts. Just to let you know, the code word is peanuts. Because they said it was so hard to translate and it's like almost impossible. But gosh, I wish I could have done the whole experience because they literally had like secret agents stashed around Universal Studios where you had to like go and get clues after clues. But I'm a big fat liar and a big fat cheater.
She goes.
At least you admit it.
I do admit it.
Confession cleans the soul.
It does. So guys, what was your first experience with Spy Family?
My son recommended this show to me, and I was like, no, this ain't. And he was like, watch it. And surprisingly, this was a very good show, and it really was touching how they actually came together and bonded as a family, which was cute to me, which also speaks to my whole thing about family systems. Which I also love.
What about you, Christian? What was your experience when you watched this?
Yeah, about a couple years ago when I was catching up on everything that was in Shonen Jump, I learned they also had a Jump Plus thing, which is additional manga that they publish. So I was doing that, saw Spy Family, fell in love immediately. And then when the anime came out, I was like, oh, even better. I get to see it actually in motion.
Oh, okay. So you read the
love
manga
the series.
before the anime.
I am caught up all the way to the current manga.
Okay. That's exciting. So, in case you guys might have lived under a rock, if you just thought we were going to be talking about like the Spy Kids, actual like where Junie Cortez and stuff, we are not talking about them. We are talking about a different spy family. I would dare say a better spy family. I know, unpopular opinion. I just love this anime so much. So, it takes place in a fictional world and it kind of makes you think of like the Cold War era. There's a war going on between these two countries. And so we have a spy named Twilight, and he's the best of the best. He's pretty much James Bond. Like I would even say better because people don't even know his real they know nothing about him except Twilight. He's the best. And so he gets an impossible mission to get close to this. I don't even think he's a military personnel. Is he a politician? The target. Remind me.
He was the former prime minister, I think.
Okay, yep, so politician. So yeah, former prime minister, but this dude only shows up to like a couple of events a year, and it just so happens to be for like his kid's school. Well, Twilight being his single self, he's the best spy solo, but now he has to undertake his hardest mission yet, which is to go get a kid. Not only a kid, he has to go get a whole wife because back it's kind of taking place in that like time and age where it's not acceptable or respectable to have like a kid without a mom. You know, he's trying to make this perfect family image. So, do you guys remember a little bit about like tell me about Anya and his wife? That's the daughter and his wife Yor. What are your thoughts on them?
Yes. So he goes off to find, the perfect daughter for the scenario, and Anya, who is about 2 years younger than what he suspects, can read other people's minds. So the crossword puzzles that he gives to like see who's the smartest kid here, she knows the answers because he knows the answers. So making her think she's actually smart when she's actually about as dumb as bricks.
Oh my gosh,
But
so
she's
dumb.
working on it.
She's so cute though.
Yeah, she is.
Yes. Then we have Yor, who becomes the eventual wife. Like she is working as an assassin to keep peace within the nation, like killing off the riffraff. Um, and she is at that age. The older you get, the more suspicious is. Why aren't you married? What's wrong with you? Like we should probably look into your life. So in order to do that, she does agree to become Lloyd's wife. Nothing at this point in time. Nothing actually romantic about it, but
Right.
that's moving as we
So
go.
remind me, they're on Lloyd and Yor, they're on the same team technically, fighting for the same country. They're just in different organization, right? So Yor is like cleaning up the underground kind of, and Twilight is helping like the government.
Yeah.
I've always been
Yeah,
confused.
Lloyd is like working for the opposing country. He was from the opposing country. They had his war back a while ago.
Okay.
There's this cold war between them now, and he's making sure that peace remains in this country. That's why he wants to go to the Desmonds to get closer to him so that war doesn't break out because uh, the head Desmond, can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he could easily ratchet it up again.
Okay. So they're still protecting peace with the same thing. Got it. So Keno, I was excited that Keno got asked to join me. So tell us, Keno, about this idea of having the facade of a perfect family, like perfect wife, perfect kids, kind of like wanting to be impressive, but also under the radar. Have you ever felt that pressure from society?
Oh, no, you asking the wrong one because I am who I am, and I don't care about what people think about me. But my wife, on the other hand, is more concerned about appearances and things of that nature. But to the dynamics with her and myself, because I am abrasive and
Mm-hmm.
tell it like it is, and my wife is uber sensitive. So I have to learn to navigate not navigate, but tail back my abrasiveness and become a little more soft around the edges. That's only we've been married. It'll be 18 years in August. Or is it 19? I think it's 19 years in August. And it's maybe the last 3 years that my rough edges started to get smoothed out. I started paying attention. I think, but the whole thing is you have to keep the integrity of the relationship going while also working on your quote unquote mission, which is just to better yourself. But it's a dance that you have to navigate, especially when you have kids involved, because the kids they're saboteurs of your relationship. Let's just be real. Kids will mess up your relationship. And And it's not intentional, but that's just how they are because they always needing something from you anyway. Just like Anya, who wants these two to really be together, even though she know both their secrets. And it's just a desire for just to be a cohesion. It's it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, especially now because my sons are teenagers and they're at this age where they can talk back in cohesion and argue with you and type things. But
And they have logical like arguments. Like I find that with some of my students at school, they make solid points, and I'm like,
they do. They
gosh, you are almost right, but I'm not going to admit it, and I'm just going to pull the power cord right now.
do.
Shut up and sit down.
Yeah. And then the other thing is that we've become more open to listen to our son's criticism of us because we don't know it all. We don't have all the answers, and so a lot of times if there's any issues or conflicts or like something with their grades or schooling, we'll bring them in and ask them what do they suggest. Because again, I'm abrasive, so my whole thought process is I'm taking everything out your room, taking your phone, taking your gaming system, none of that stuff. But my wife like, no, give him a chance, and so
That's funny.
That's a balance. It really is a balance, though.
Christian, if you had to like, since you're single and you found a mission, you're like, you have to marry this person. Like, how would you even go about accomplishing this mission of trying to form these ties?
The world is doomed. I have no game plan. Like the world's gonna die. You better hope everything's right with Jesus because nuclear explosions happening tomorrow.
Right. It's like, no, we pre-failed this mission.
Yep. It's like, I mean, it would be an act of God for that to work with me as your main protag.
Well, and I just think because I can't, Keno, I'm similar to you. I can't fake things. You know, if I am not into a conversation, I mean, y'all have seen my faces on a lot of these recordings. And if when I'm zoned out, I'm zoned out, you know, and I'm unapologetic. So just to think, you know, yes, he's a spy, but he's so used to doing everything on his own. And I feel like we can associate that with a lot of things that we do. Like in group projects in school, like, no, let me do it. Let me rise and follow myself. But with Twilight, he can do everything right, but that doesn't matter because he has the ticking time bomb of Anya, who, as Christian said, is dumb as rocks. And you have the ditzy Yor. She's like a master assassin, but she's so ditzy and she can't cook. And it's hilarious watching the show. It makes me laugh so much. Have you guys seen season 2? Any?
Yes.
No, I haven't.
Okay, I've only seen a little bit. I feel like, do you feel season 2 kind of went a little downhill, Christian?
It finally gave us some your episodes, which is something it was really lacking in. So I appreciate that. But yeah, at this point in time, when I was reading the manga, I was a little more down on it than usual, but it has since raised up the stakes
it's
pretty
still
well.
great. I think they changed the voice actors. That's what my husband said. I even got my husband to watch this anime. And so if I can get I think this is another reason why I love it. We actually, when we were chilling in Japan, since we were doing Universal Studio, and this was one of the highlights I wanted to do of the whole trip, you know, be a cheat and steal the secret code, which is kind of like a spy if you think about it. Yeah, I'm just practicing. So I made him watch the anime in our downtime since we were so jet lagged. We'd wake up at like 4 a.m. and I'm like, yeah, watch this. So my husband actually watched it with me, which was very sweet. But he noticed the voice actors, I guess, changed in the second season. Do you know anything about that, Christian? Because I'm half deaf, so I can't hear.
Yeah, I have not paid attention to that.
I
I'm like
didn't
the least
either.
observant person in the world.
Okay, but
It would have to be really jarring for me to notice.
I feel like the second season, and let me know if the manga is like this, it went more to the humor side than the mission side. Would you agree?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I would agree to that. But that's also something that when they get to season 3, there's going to be some more, like what Lloyd's backstory is and how that fits into the mission and stuff like that. So there's a lot I'm looking forward to.
Right. Keno, if you had a daughter, since you're the only one who can keep children alive that we know of in this group, I've never tried it, so I don't know. Like in my experience with my plants, they all die. So
Mine too, so don't feel bad.
So if you ended up adopting a daughter like Anya, what do you think your reaction would be? Because you don't care about picture perfect, so you don't care about the mission, but just Anya's personality. Like she's so crazy, but so cute.
Yes, so that's where I would fail in the cuteness of it all. Because even though, like, I don't have daughters, but I have nieces and I have homeboys who have daughters, and I know how I would be with a daughter. My wife would kill me because I would give her anything she wants.
Oh, you already know.
Oh yeah, automatic. Because I'm the total antithesis when boys. I'm like, nah, y'all ain't getting anything. You don't need anything. You can cook for yourself, you can clean for yourself. I'm not fixing you no food. You can fend for yourself. Now, my daughter on the hand, even if she was 25 and came home and said, "Dad, can you make me something?" I'll get up and do it, even if I'm tired. I kid you not.
Dang. His imaginary daughter has him wrapped around his finger.
Already?
Dang.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because we see Twilight, he starts picking up that and he starts getting wrapped around like Anya's finger, and even Yor, because he starts having that desire of wanting to be a good husband. And it starts off as like, we need to put a good facade in for the family, but then you kind of see that character growth of like he actually wants to make Yor and Anya happy. So I ship them, obviously.
Which will happen as you progress in your relationships, even if it's a fake relationship. Feelings will occur. Feelings you will eventually get feelings. Even if you had a baby and you're like, I don't know what to do with this baby, but you look at the baby like, oh my gosh, this baby's so cute. I love it forever.
Hi, my name is TJ Blackwell, also known as Tejas, Tiberius Wan, Tejas Jackson, Kung Fu Dugong recently. I go by many names. And I came here today to ask you to please check out our YouTube channel. There are a bunch of exclusive series there, like Comic Book Ketchup, Manga Mustard, Drinks with Tejas, which is my personal favorite, the one where I get to talk to other people about their favorite drinks or just drinks in general. We have a companion series to our annual theme on YouTube. We do Friday Night Frights, Wednesday Night Weeaboo. Those are both ran by Christian Ashley. He's great. Check him out. There are exclusive shorts, which are pretty new. Christian reviews. He's going to review every Spider-Man comic one at a time, which is insane. Non-canon, which is where Joshua will be reviewing one IP from outside of canon in his favorite fandoms, or a piece of literature that is part of the biblical extra canonical material, which is a super interesting short series. Will's Wednesday pull list, where he talks about his comic book pull list each week. He picks a top comic for his weeklies. And there are other surprise bonus content. It goes straight to YouTube. And many of our regular podcast episodes get posted there as well, because we like to see each other when we talk, and we don't want to rob you of that ability. So check us out, like, subscribe. We would appreciate it so much, and it helps us a ton. Thank you.
Right. I mean, look at arranged marriages. Arranged marriages, not like from last time I looked, like their statistics was way less divorce rates than what we choose when we choose our own partners, just because usually the parents have your best interest in mind, values aligned. But really, any relationship is a choice of if you want to work on it or not.
Yes, and the fact is that these two, even though it's a mission, are also working on their relationship. They actually spend time together. They go shopping, they cook, and all the other stuff. Like those things, actually, the little things actually build up over time. That makes you want to be more connected.
How do you think the anime would go, Christian, if they were honest up front, if there was no secrets? If Anya was like, I can actually read minds.
Oh, it would raise a lot of questions for Lloyd. He's already super paranoid, and then he knows his wife is an assassin working with that country. His daughter is a telepath, so she knows how many of his secrets does she know? Like, that would tear the family apart if he doesn't have the relationship that he does with them now. I think eventually he's going to reach the point that these things are going to come to light. Everyone's going to find out who the others are, but they're going to stick together. Maybe there'll be a trial period where they split up for a bit, but that's when they'll actually come as a team and be a real family, is because they spend all that time working to become a family.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What do you think, Keno? Do you think the same as Christian? They'll fall apart and come back together?
No, they would not come back together, only because the secrets and the embarrassment and the shame tied to it will prevent them from coming back together. Like literally, that's normally what happens with secrets anyway. They stop us from building connection, and the only way they can be reconciled if everyone had desire to continue on. But you find out somebody knows your secrets, you're like, we ain't talking no more because you can't hold nothing in no water. I don't trust you. I don't. Once trust is gone, then that's it's hard to build it back up. It can happen, but it's hard to build it back up. So
Yeah, I remember this is like just my trust wasn't really broken, but I remembered my husband and this was before we even got engaged, but we were dating like 4 years. And then I found out like he called on his like he was about to graduate high school, and there was like someone, I guess he had like he always wondered like what if, because when you date someone, you kind of like, you're like, oh, I wonder what my relationship like would be with this person if I wasn't dating. And so then I found out he like gave her a phone call and was like, it's like, is anything like, would have happened? And I just remembered feeling so betrayed over a phone call, like I questioned everything. I'm like, do you even like me? Granted, this was probably 19-year-old Liz. So way, way down the road. And then we ended up getting married 2 years later. But I just remembered like that feeling of betrayal. So then you take that feeling times to the umpteenth power. But then I wonder how it would feel because everyone's betraying each other. So it's not like one person's innocent
correct.
And one person's, they're all guilty of a secret.
Correct.
And it's going to come out. We just don't know when.
Yes. But the fallacy is that your betrayal is also amplified by the lies you tell yourself.
Interesting thought.
So what I'm getting at is like, you know how people think bad things happen and then bad things eventually happen. Like what you're really doing is you're just looking for the bad things and you're ignoring the good things. So and that's what really happens. So when there's betrayal and trust that's involved, I know some folks who are going through issues and cheating and things like that, and all they are focusing on is the negative stuff, ignoring everything else is good. But I'm not saying you can't focus on that, but it's also amplified by how you feel about it.
Dang, yeah, that's a good point. You always find what you're looking for, and so just me personally, I've been like kind of in a depressive state like this past week. Just a lot of things have been going wrong. And so I keep on finding wrong things. And so the other, it was like last night and this morning, my husband was like, nope, we're playing worship music. He's been putting on like these, like, preaching on the TV in the background and stuff just to like refocus my mind. He's like, no, you're looking at the wrong things. You need to focus this and this. And then I do feel better today, but it's because my focus is now more positive and edifying things.
Yeah, that's how it works.
Christian.
Yes.
If you had a daughter like Anya, would you also be wrapped around her finger?
I have had the immense blessing, working with my mom. My mom has watched a bunch of other kids at our house since I've been little. So I grew up with a lot of extra brothers and sisters. And most of the time, I tend to gravitate towards the girls. And whenever they ask me something, it's the same thing as Keno. It's like the boys, I'll be a little nicer than Keno. I may give them something, but the girls, it's no question. It's like, whatever you want. You're the most sweet thing in the world. I'm going to look after you. You're my number one. That's my niece right now. I couldn't imagine the first time she ever asked me to do something and I ever say no to her and I break her heart. I can't do that to her, even though I know it's probably better for her to say that. It's going to hurt me.
Dang. That's interesting. Okay, so I'm just preparing now. If I have a daughter, I'm going to lose my husband, which I'm perfectly okay with. Perfectly okay with. But I mean, we haven't talked about the most important character yet in this anime. It's Bond. Bond came in season 1, right? I think so. I'm pretty sure he came in season 1.
If he did, it was the tail end.
Yeah, he came near the tail end. And guys, for those who do not know, Bond is the fluffy white dog who just happens to be able to see glimpses into the future. I mean, what a great time. And then Anna can kind of read Bond's mind, so she can actually see a little bit into the future now. And it's just like, what more do you add to this crazy family? But I guess it's not psychic, but like see into the future dog.
Prophetic dog.
Yeah, there we go, a prophetic dog. And he's so big and fluffy. And if I get another dog, I'm gonna name him Bond. It's after Bondsman, which is Anya's favorite TV show. So she's like loving. She feels like her whole life is a movie. And we haven't really gotten into Anya's like tragic backstory of like how she became a psychic and stuff like that, but it's been like alluded. And I just know it's gonna break everyone's heart because Anya is like the sweetest little girl ever who just wants a family. And I feel like if anyone's listening to this episode, we should think about adopting all the little girls for Anya. sake. No, not really. I mean, if that's your call, maybe that's your sign of if you were thinking about adopting. But it's always been mine and my husband's heart to adopt one day. And so here's to me hoping to get a little telepathic on you. It could happen, right?
You don't want that. You don't
I don't want that.
You don't want her knowing your thoughts. That's
You're
the
right.
thing.
Yeah, because
I be wanting to kill mine. Okay?
are you saying parents
Not-
can lie to their kids, Keno? You would never.
All the time. All the time.
No.
No, I'm just playing. I don't lie to my kids. Funny enough, and please forgive me if I offend anyone, but I've always told my kids the truth about Christmas, so they never knew that I always told them it was me and their mother buying gifts. There's no Santa Claus, and
Right,
but
that's a preference.
but I had to tell them, don't tell your friends that though, because
Right.
we don't want you to hurt anybody else's feelings.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, guys.
But let me say this though,
Mhm.
it's a delicate balance being a parent, only because you're trying to protect your child from the quote unquote bad world, but
Mhm.
also the issue is that you have to allow them to experience certain things. So I'll give you a great example. Like my son got a notice that he was about to get kicked out of his program because he was failing.
Oh.
And interesting enough, we had a conversation the week prior to saying that he was like he wanted to get out of it, he wanted to quit. And lo and behold, when the teacher tells him, "Hey, you about to get kicked out," he's like, "I want to stay. I want to do everything I want to do." That's fine. Do it. Because I'm not going to do your work for you. I got my own stuff to do.
Yeah, makes sense. I mean, you definitely want to not handicap the kids, but set them up.
A lot of parents do because they don't want their kids to experience anything bad. But that's how they grow.
And teaching high school right now, you can tell the kids who's been in a bubble or the parents handled everything for them versus the kids who fell flat on their face and they had to figure it out. Like it's a world of difference.
It's so easy.
And so I'm just so curious how like Twilight, he's read all the parenting books. And I'm sure as Keno, you can attest, you cannot put parenting in a book at all.
No, because every child is different. What I've learned, I can't remember who told me this, but maybe I read in a book, but the parent that you had is not the same parent that your siblings had.
Oh, that's a good point because you grow and develop with each kid.
You do. And the circumstances and situations are different. Like my youngest son, he's a genius, but I'll never tell him that. I would never
I'm going
admit
to
to
send
him.
this episode. I'm going to send it.
That's fine. That's fine, and I'll deny everything. but he's actually he's actually a genius. But I would never tell him that because he'll use that over his brother, which he has done inadvertently. But then with my oldest, I have to affirm him as the oldest because he just don't feel like he can do certain things. But I'm like, you can do whatever you want to do. You just got to believe it's possible. But again, it's those dynamics of knowing that you have a smart child and knowing you have a child who is having self-esteem issues, and how do you parent them in different facets, but also keep them together in the same household.
Wow, Christian, I feel like we're learning so much. Write this down.
You learn from the master,
right? Honestly, though, could you imagine like on top of your family having to keep the secret as a spy from your wife and kids? And I feel like Lloyd is going to have like some kind of mental break down the road. And you're if you haven't watched season 2, I'm not really spoiling anything, but she's already having kind of like a torn between wanting to like be an assassin and wanting to be a mom and like a wife and stuff like that. So she will already seeing her like conflict within like the two worlds she's living in.
But funny enough, I'm sorry, Christian, but here's the jewel. You don't have to fight. You don't have to stop being who you are. You just got to find time to do those things. That's really what it is. Because even though I'm a dad to my kids, I love to play. Like I'm playing Red Dead Redemption 2. I'm playing it all over again. I love anime. I read the Bible. I preach. I'm pastoring. I'm working. I'm in school. All of these things, but it's how you manage yourself. But the problem that we have is we're trying to be everything to everybody and not to ourselves.
Mm-hmm. That's good. All right. So I'll be an assassin by day, mom by night.
There you go.
Done.
Yeah.
I believe me. I believe in me.
You can do it.
So Christian, Keno, do you guys have anything else to say about the anime before we wrap up and start about our recommendations?
I don't have anything else. This is a good. Again, this is a interesting show to watch, especially if you look at the family dynamics and how they're working to build together, but also do their own individual things outside of the family, which a lot of people have struggled in doing, because a lot of folks feel like their whole identity is wrapped up in their kids, but it's not. You still a person. You still
Right.
have still who you were, and once the kids are gone, then what happens? Like, I don't know what I'm doing in my life. And I'll be happy when they leave. You hear me?
That's so funny. I'm gonna send this to your kids.
That's fine. And I've told them anyway. Okay, I've told them I can't wait till y'all get out. Okay.
So fun.
I did remember something.
Okay.
In regards to Lloyd breaking, I think there are 2 times you're going to be very happy. One is because of a loss. One is because of win and a loss. And his reactions are pretty well worth it.
Ooh,
Seeing that,
I might read the
can't wait to
manga
see him
now.
animated.
I might read the manga now and catch up so we can geek out on manga mustard down the road, Christian. So I think I'm gonna start that.
If you want some humor, spy fiction that doesn't take itself too seriously, may not be the most safe for work thing in the world, check out Danger 5. It's an Australian production of, what if, World War II continued into the 60s. It's a spoof of the spy genre. It's a ton of fun.
Interesting.
It's like only so many episodes. It's so dumb, but I love it.
Hey, you need the dumb stuff just to give yourself a mental break. That's what I'm finding.
Yep.
What about you, Keno? What do you recommend?
So I'm gonna recommend something my niece turned me on to, which is Snow White with the red hair. Which is
that's a rom-com.
Yes, it is. And I was surprised. I was like, "Oh, this is cute. I like this." So yeah, I've been turned on to this rom-com, and I'm excited to try to finish it.
Okay, very cool. And I mentioned it with my geeking out, so I just have to, since I literally watched. I was like a little depressed this weekend, so I literally watched a whole season in a day. So it just be like that sometimes, So the Rising of the Shield Hero. It's pretty much. It feels like a RP, like a role playing anime, but the guy gets taken from his modern day world in Japan, and he's pretty much summoned to be a hero, and he finds out the world he's in is very much like a game, but it's not a game. It's actual people's lives, and so he, of course, There's 4 heroes: the spear hero, the sword, the archer, and the shield. Have you? Okay, don't tell me crap. Don't tell me anything because it's an older one. I'm jumping on.
I will keep my opinions to myself because I'm sure I would break your heart.
I have a feeling. I have a feeling it's going to be like Sword Art Online, and I'm not even looking at the screen right now, but I have a feeling it's going to break my heart with how it goes because I'm in season 2, and I already see it going a little like down. But yeah.
Down, she says.
But I'm not looking at the screen. But the Rising of the Shield Hero, I'm liking it so far because I like that the guy, I love a good underdog, and this guy was summoned as the Shield Hero, which everyone hated, and they framed him and they bashed him. But now, guess who's the best? I'm still not looking at the screen.
I have many criticisms for that, some of which were some inspirations for my 4th novel.
Wow. Okay, well, maybe when Joshua hears this, we might have to do, once I'm done. Okay, tell me this. Is the anime all completed, or are we waiting for season 4?
No, there's still plenty of volumes to be released. It has been announced season 4 is coming.
Okay, well, at least it's coming. I was say I hate when that happens. Whenever you binge 3 seasons in 2 weeks, and then you just have to wait 2 years for season 4. Ugh.
Yeah.
It's fine. But that's what I'm geeking out on. I guess maybe do a little bit of research before you take my recommendation. Maybe private message Christian or Keno, and they can tell you a little bit more about it.
Like what you like. Yeah. I just have criticisms. A lot of criticisms.
That's funny. I can't wait to hear them once I'm caught up. So we'll all 3 reconvene after this. Well, guys, thanks so much for listening. If you enjoyed this, make sure you rate and review on the Podchaser, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whichever platform you listen to your podcast. Thank you again for our Patreons. We love you. We appreciate your support. There will be a bonus question that I'm not going to think of right now for you in 2 seconds, but there will be a bonus question after this, just as a special thanks, and continue to hang out with us. Make sure you join our Discord if you haven't already. Continue the conversation with Christian, Keno, and I about how Shield Hero is going. Once again, guys, thank you again for listening. Remember, we are all a chosen people, a geekdom, a priest.
Hello, friends. Are you enjoying what you're hearing from Systematic Ecology today in your earbuds, or whether it's on YouTube, or whether you're in traffic, or whether you're at work? Well, there's another way that you can stay engaged with us at Systematic Ecology, and that's on our Instagram account. Yes, hop over to Instagram, follow. We'll follow back, we promise. We post lots of fun stuff over there, whether they're updates on new podcasts that are coming out or getting ready to come out, or whether they're memes, or we're sharing what other of our friends are up to out in the world. Sometimes we go live at events, whether we're at a Comic-Con or whether we are just hanging out with friends on the back porch grilling out. You can follow us there. We also have videos and reels, like what's in Will's pull box from his local comic book store. He shares what he's reading in the world of comics. And then Christian is going to do some reviews of Spider-Man comics called Spidey Swing Bys. That's going to be fun. And then there's non-canon stuff. Non-canon? What? Yeah, Joshua's going to be reviewing one intellectual property from outside of the canon of his favorite fandoms, or a piece of literature that's a part of the biblical extra-canonical material. Man, that sounds like fun. But yeah, Instagram is one of my favorite social media outlets, and love to engage with friends and family over there. And so we hope that you can engage with us there.
Be sure to check out other Anazal Ministry Podcast AMP Network shows. You can see the whole network in a single feed if you're on Spotify, or you could go to Apple Podcasts and find the Anazal Ministries Network podcast, the AMP Network. Yeah, there's just a network on Apple. You can follow the whole thing. You'll get shows like The Homily, where Pastor Will goes through his homily messages. It's literally just Pastor Will's sermons, guys. It's great. You also get access to the Whole Church podcast, where TJ and myself interview leaders from across different denominations and backgrounds to work towards a more full church unity. You can see My Seminary Life, where Brandon Knight discusses his experiences at seminary and then discusses seminary topics, so anyone can have access to knowledge available to seminary students. You also can see Let Nothing Move You over there, where Christian Ashley goes through the Bible in a Bible study type fashion and explains the whole biblical narrative. I also have a show on there, The Dummy for Theology, where we discuss various theological topics in an attempt to show every side of the discussions, leaving you with more questions than answers. There's also The Bible After Hours, where the foul-mouthed preacher goes through the Bible from a more progressive view to challenge the status quo of the modern church. Finally, you can hear The Clydes, where Taylor and Elizabeth Clyde go through weekly discussions in a devotional conversational style method to help us all get closer to one another and to God.